I believe that Londoners should be able to benefit from delicious and healthy plant-based food alongside other options. That's why the cafe and hospitality contract at City Hall always offers vegan and vegetarian options every day. The City Hall Cafe has been awarded the Soil Association's Food for Life Served Here Silver Award, which celebrates local and organic produce. The cafe promotes veganuary, bringing greater awareness to the vegan options available throughout the year. Animal welfare is also considered when sourcing other menu items. Only free-range eggs and sustainable fish are served at City Hall, and other produce is Red Tractor and RSPCA assured where possible. The cafe has a vegan meal loyalty card encouraging staff to select the plant-based option for every meal. The hospitality menu has been updated to promote plant-based options. Food is an important part of cultural celebrations that take place in Trafalgar Square, and a broad offering including vegetarian and plant-based food is always available. I understand just this week the GLA hosted a fantastic iftar attended by the members' Green Group colleagues, as well as my Deputy Mayors for Communities and Social Justice and Environment and Energy, and plant-based main meals and desserts were available. TfL has 2 catering providers who between them cover all its head office and operational locations. Both providers supply vegan and vegetarian soup on a daily basis and at least 1 plant-based main meal every day. TfL have had a number of promotions to highlight these options, including in November 2024, a scheme to get a 10th meal free, a veganuary promotion in January, and a number of taster sessions to promote a new range of plant-based snacks. The London Fire Brigade has self-service food and drink available at its headquarters at Union Street, which always includes plant-based food. Plant-based food is offered in all Met Police Service canteens, and vegan diets are also taken into account when catering for officers and aides, such as Not in Old Carnival. It's important both for environmental and animal welfare reasons to provide plant-based options as widely as possible. Many Londoners have other dietary needs and preferences, and it's right to provide options for everyone.
Thank you so much for that. And there's some really genuinely good work happening on this, and I applaud that entirely. Obviously, it's my role to keep pushing you, and I will do constructively. Earlier this year, I hosted an event at Caramel. Caramel is a community restaurant in Wood Green that's vegan, and always amazing activities going on there. That's a conversation for another time. I did it with Viva, who are the leading animal rights campaign organisation. And what we did was we gathered over 100 people who were experts and campaigners in policies like food, environment, climate, animal rights and anti-poverty. And ultimately, I had one big question, which is what should the Mayor of London be doing to make a cruelty-free, animal-friendly city? And as you say, that's the manifesto we came up with. Now, the first thing that came up over and over again was this idea of plant-based by default. And this is some of the things you were just talking about, making sure there are still choices for people who have dietary requirements or cultural requirements, but also ultimately showing climate leadership and pushing the dial on this. Now, I'd love to have a conversation with you about how we do this all over London, but I want to start with the most local place possible, which is the canteen just behind me at City Hall. Would you consider working with a contractor to make sure that our canteen at City Hall is plant-based by default? And what I mean by that is the first thing on the menu is vegan or plant-based, that it's the biggest font, that it's the most attractive option, and people can still have meat and dairy if they wish, but they ask for it. So we're just flipping it the other way around and making sure a healthy and sustainable diet is the default.
I can already hear mutterings from amongst members of the Assembly. No, it's a serious point. I wasn't being facetious.
And that's why you have to show climate leadership on this.
Well, I think we'd be a bit careful about taking away people's choices and, you know...
We're not taking away people's choices. It's just to be really clear, it's plant-based by default, so you're enabling people to actually have more choice, and those choices are going to be cheaper for people, healthier for people, and better for the planet too.
So that's just the Assembly before you get involved with the staff, and staff associations and so forth. I'm very happy if the member wants to raise this with the Chief Officer and the staff associations and members of the Assembly. I'm quite clear in relation to making sure there are plant-based options available, but also making sure, a point he raised previously in terms of procurement, the issues, the power of procurement in relation to these issues. What I'm not in favour of is not giving people choice. And I think what we've tried to do is to promote plant-based options, but also to allow people to have choice.
I think a lot of the campaigners will be really disappointed with this because it does sound like outsourcing responsibility. You're the Mayor of London. I'd love to talk to you, for instance, about free school meals and how we could be making those plant-based by default. This is the very first option, though, is just City Hall Canteen, is just making sure there are plant-based options that are the default options. UK Healthcare and Climate Council, that's 50 healthcare organisations representing over 1 million plant-based professionals, are saying plant-based by default is something that Londoners should be doing, and London organisations options. So one more time, as Mayor of London, I don't want you to outsource it to the Chief Executive. Would you show climate leadership and talk to the contractor and say climate leadership would be plant-based by default in City Hall, to show good example?
No, I want to ensure everyone's got choice in relation to these things, and I think at the moment we've got a good balance between promoting plant-based foods, not just in City Hall, but with our partners, but also giving those who, for a variety of reasons, may not want to have plant-based foods, other options as well.
Could I ask what specifically am I saying that's removing choice?
I think what's clear is that by default, what it often leads to is that being the only option available to.
Well, no, I'm not
patrons.
saying that. I'm saying by default. So the choice is still there. So the question again, plant-based by default with choice, will you talk to the contractor to work with them to make this happen at City Hall?
Well, I think there's a case of verbal gymnastics here. What by default normally means is by default that's the option available. He's now talking about choice, which begs the question, is he suggesting Assembly members haven't got enough common sense to know when there's plant-based foods in the cafeteria? If he's suggesting they've not got common sense, he should say that.
I'm out of time, but the Mayor's changing the meaning of words. Thank you, Chair.